Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
Welcome to episode 507 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture and HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I am your host today, A.D. Drew. Joining me today is my man. He don't know that I'm literally across town from him, sitting here in Atlanta, out here by the airport. Jamie Walker. Kelvin Carter should be joining us later. He's a little tardy right now. What happened when one of the guest lecturers is tardy, Jamie?
What is it? If they're a doctor, don't they get 10 minutes?
No, doctors get 15.
Doctors get 15. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Kelvin does have his EDS, so we have to give him 15.
Okay.
All right. We are filming. Well, Jamie is filming from his home studio. I am in a hotel in Atlanta, Georgia, and sending a signal live to KCOH 12:30 a.m. studio with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern in Houston, Texas. We in the lab, baby. We in the lab, y'all. What's going on, Jamie?
Man, nothing much. It's been a while.
Before you even get started, my name is Bennett, and I ain't in it. Now, go ahead and finish what you was gonna say.
Man, it's been a while, man. It's been a while since I've been in the lab. So I'm glad you reached out, man. You know, just substituting in. I don't know what kind of professorship you would call me, but I guess visiting professor would be most appropriate today.
There you go, visiting professor. Yeah, yes. And I'm actually in Atlanta, Jamie, for the NAIA Women's Flag National Championships.
Oh, so you're the Benz.
Yes, I'll be at the Benz tomorrow for the semifinals and the finals. And for those of y'all, if you have not seen women's flag football in person, it's better in person than it is on TV, on YouTube, and everything else. But if you have not seen it in person, you need to get out and see it, because, bruh, I saw some girls getting mossed yesterday, man. I saw some beautiful pick sixes and just some incredible tip passes to interceptions. I mean, just very athletic plays by the young ladies that were out there playing yesterday. And a couple of those quarterbacks, y'all wish was starting on y'all team this fall on Saturday. That's all I'm gonna say.
Man, let me tell you, man, when it comes to ladies in flag football, it is a phenomenal sport. And it's also growing. It's no secret, or really no thing, or just not a surprise that it's at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I know being here in the metro area, Arthur Blank supports flag football tremendously, especially in the high school level here in the state of Georgia. So it's no surprise at all that it's at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, because it's well supported by the Atlanta Falcons and the Arthur M. Blake Foundation.
Yeah, it's been there for 4 consecutive years at the Mercedes-Benz. And matter of fact, Arthur Blank was one of the big supporters and get it even started on the NAIA level on the national level. It's probably been sanctioned as a high school sport in Florida longer than any other state. And I believe it's either 34 or 37 states that will, state high school athletic associations that will sanction this sport coming up next year. So it's a fast growing sport. Everybody's got a lot to do to catch up with the state of Florida because it's been down there for well over a decade. Georgia is another hotbed for talent in this sport, but it's just a growing sport, man. You're absolutely right.
Absolutely, man. Love to see what's happening with it, man, and it expand as well, man. You can never have too many sports that someone competes in, especially when you're trying to even out what your schools are trying to do in general. Love to see it, grow and expand even further.
Yeah. All right, Jay. I'm gonna let you start it off, man. Well, first of all, I'm a little upset right now. My Rattlers are losing 4-0 in the 5th inning to Jackson State. Man, I thought Jackson State was going to get rid of all the red uniforms. Because every time Jackson State puts on the red, they tend to do something good. And I'll be doggone if they don't have on their red red on red. Now, red on red in the SWAC tournament and whooping up on the number one Rattlers 4-0. And
I'll tell you what.
Go ahead. I was going to say, by the way, all East Final Four in the SWAC softball tournament. Go ahead, Jamie.
Nah, man. I mean, Jackson State is playing at a high right now, especially after that performance the other night against Bama State, man. When you're talking about a squad that's, there are no secret in success in softball, but it's something about that red when they put it on in the last few years in all sports, man, especially tournament time. They come to play. Former head coach in basketball, Tamika Reed, said, "Hey, when they put that red on, is game time." So I know they're beating up on your Rattlers right now, but when it comes to them putting on that red, man, it just does something different. It makes them turn it up a notch. So we'll see. Maybe they can come back. Like I said, that the play has been, phenomenal, really, with a lot of different teams. No team is ever out of it. So we'll see what happens with the conclusion of this game.
Yeah, every game that I have watched has been competitive. I have not seen a run rule or anything like that. I can't recall her name, but the freshman from Arkansas Pine Bluff and FAMU, I mean, both pitchers at one point in time had set down over 15 consecutive batters, and that was I lost my days. Day one of the tournament. So and then we see FAMU win the doggone tournament on on the Little League play. Just keep on running until somebody tag you out, and that's how they won the game in extra innings, 2-1. We've seen a couple of extra inning games here in the SWAC softball tournament. 2 outs, top of the 6th inning. Jackson State is batting. Jackson State is up 4-0. Make that great play. Make that 3 outs in the bottom of the 6th. The left fielder just dove and made a great play. If that ball gets down, that's probably going to be 3 bases for Jackson State as the ball was tailing towards the left field line. Anyway, I cut you off, Jamie. What's the news of the day that you want to bring to the people?
Man, listen, according to HBCU Game Day and HBCU Sports, man, Angel Jackson, Jackson State, WNBA draft pick, cut by the Las Vegas Aces. That is from HBCUsports.com. Listen, man, it's no secret. Jackson State's basketball team has been phenomenal the last couple of years. Last 5 years. And when you're talking about just the talent that has come from that squad, Angel Jackson being one of those draft picks. I know Amisha Holiday last year was a pick of the Indiana Fever, did not make that squad, and looks like the same fate has kind of taken place with Angel Jackson as well. So, but on Twitter, she's pointed out, hey, she's keeping her head high. She said for number 15, it is not over. Just kind of paraphrasing what she put on Twitter. So yeah, it's not over for her. I'm definitely praying for her and hoping that she gets catches on somewhere, because I think her best basketball is still ahead of her. It's just a matter. It's just something, when it comes to that league and just in general, the lack of franchises throughout, that league, it just makes it so hard for not just players that have been drafted, especially in your lower rounds, but players that have been there for years, being able to stay and maintain a roster spot. So, like I said, again, that news coming out, you hate to see it, but you definitely wish and hope that she gets on another squad.
Definitely. Now, Jamie, I don't know if you were watching a couple of weeks ago when around the NFL draft time, and Brian and I had the debate on whether the over-under for WNBA draft picks or NFL draft picks, and I took the WNBA over the NFL, and unfortunately, I was correct. So now I have to ask you this question: is it a better situation for our HBCU players to be like Angel Jackson, who gets drafted and makes it to the final cut and get cut, or in the NFL situation when they don't get drafted and have an opportunity to sign as a UDFA?
Wow, this is such a loaded question, man. By nature of the sport and having so few members and so few opportunities in the WNBA versus the NFL, just professional football in general, I think you have more opportunities in professional football than you do for the WNBA in general. Right now, the way football is kind of shaping itself out to be, you're talking about it being better, especially for the HBCU players that's coming out to be UDFAs. Because essentially you get to choose your destination. You get to choose where you're going to go. And in certain senses, especially with me, I think this is probably the really the last couple of years that I didn't get mad because because we didn't have a player drafted, because it was kind of expected. But I also think in certain senses, I chose 3. That was wishful thinking. But it's one of those things where you seeing the shape of how college football is shaping up to be when it comes to the Power 4 and then everyone else, Group of 5. The NFL draft is becoming one of those things where it is a Power 4 showcase. And I think everyone else that I guess a scout sees potential, they may get picked out of Group of 5 of everyone else that's kind of been lumped in. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where the opportunity to be a UDFA will probably, be better than being a WNBA draft pick.
Yeah. Well, like you said, when you don't get drafted and you actually get to choose a team and go through the negotiations of being undrafted, then in theory, you should have a better chance of making a team. But there's something about when your name is called, and even though we haven't had a player go up on the stage since Steve McNair, but the fact that your name gets called and it goes down in the record books, for lack of a better word, that so-and-so was drafted. You were chosen by this team. And unfortunately, in the WNBA, because there are only 12 roster spots, whereas in the NBA, you have 15 roster spots. And because the turnover in the WNBA is that it's hard. I mean, there are some teams that pretty much running back with the same players for a couple of years in a row, or the players that they pick up are free agents who've already been in the league. So it's tough. So for Angel Jackson to make it to the final cut, to be the final person cut, which is one step further than Amisha Williams-Holiday made it, because I believe she was in the first set of cuts when she was drafted by the Indiana Fever. No Caitlin Clark references up in here, y'all. But yeah, and here's the one advantage that Angel Jackson has over Amisha Williams Holiday. Angel Jackson is a legit 6'6". There aren't a lot of 6'6" and above in the W right now. So just the fact, just like that 6'4", 12-year-old kid that you put on your basketball team, somebody somewhere, when an injury occurs or something happens, is going to pick up because you just can't go find 6'6" anywhere. So we'll leave it right there, Jamie. Hey, get ready to take our first break, Jamie. When we come back, we're going to get into more of this HBCU sports talk. Send a shout out to all the lab listeners. You are watching Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Jamie Walker, AD Drew. We'll be right back.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Back here on Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, AD Drew, Jamie Walker. We doing just doing the dynamic duo today. Third person could not join us today. Let's give a shout out to the lab listeners, Jamie. Karen Griffin says it's lab time. Carol Kellum, good evening. Good evening, lab. PV in the house. PV, number one all season long. Had to go home today. Lost to Alabama State earlier today. I believe that score was 3-2 was the final score there. PV had opportunity there in the bottom of the 7th inning, was unable to come through. Ricky Burton, we're in the lab, baby. Karen Griffin, greetings from Southern California. Coach Ferrasi Norman in the chat, Jamie. Says
my
what's
guy.
up? My guy. Still working for you out there, Coach Ferrasi, still working. Chuck Hunt coming in from Monroe, Louisiana, says good evening. Carol Kellum, we are watching you in the lab. Karen Griffin reminds us that Maryland Eastern Shore let their men's basketball coach go. We'll get into that if we had time. Silas Edward McMorris, good evening, everyone. PV in the house. PV 0 for 2, but y'all still wearing that purple and gold with pride. I love that. Karen Griffin, Tennessee State has also hired a women's basketball coach. Karen Griffin coming in with all the scoops right now. So
all in it, man.
all in it, Jamie. Hey, Jamie, let's talk a little HBCU softball, man. And we're gonna start off. We're gonna start off in the MEAC right now. Everybody's been focused in on the SWAC tournament. MEAC began their tournament on yesterday, and going back looking at yesterday's scores, North Carolina Central defeated South Carolina State by a score of 1-0. Coppin State defeated Maryland Eastern Shore 13-6. Then Central came back in the afternoon and defeated Morgan State, who had a first round bye by a score of 3-1. There's nothing like when you have a 16 tournament where the team that had the play-in game comes and defeats the team who had the bye to just mess up the bracket altogether.
I mean, it's one of those things. Fortunately, unfortunately, the amount of teams kind of gives way for that to happen.
Yeah. Oh, but it gets worse, Jamie. Didn't only happen once in the MEAC. It happened twice. Howard, who has dominated the MEAC all season long, has floated between them and Tennessee State for the number one team in HBCU softball, also failed yesterday by a score of 6-4 to Howard, which has brought us to today. Morgan State defeated Maryland Eastern Shore by a score of 7-4, which means Maryland Eastern Shore is back on the bus, heading back home. And Jamie, Howard is gone. Lost to South Carolina State.
Yes, they did.
By a score of 6-2. So the number one team in HBCU softball all season long is 2 in fish grease, as they like to say. And looking in on the game that is currently going on right now, North Carolina and Coppin State are tied 3-3 in the bottom of the seventh. Coppin State is the home team, so Coppin State will try to win this one in a walk-off. Just quickly going over those MEAC scores, Jamie, what's your first impressions?
Honestly, man, with Karen Griffin coming in hot again, look at that score. But when it comes to Howard and Morgan State,
I ain't mad at that score.
Howard has been the creme de la creme. Morgan State coming in at the end, you thought Howard would be just the toast of the conference all year, and Coach Tyson has that group playing well. Saw them during the softball tournament we had here in the area, and so the HBCU softball invitational, and so yeah, they came in on fire last few years, been playing well. Morgan State coming in at the end, playing great softball. So you thought they would just absolutely dominate this tournament, one of them, but to see Howard go out this early, man, that just speaks to the how good the softball is in the MEAC, and probably slept on a little bit. So kudos to South Carolina State, who gave it to Howard today. But I'll be curious to see what goes on just going forward, to see what'll shake out and who will win that tournament.
Yeah, it's gonna be real interesting now, because with Howard being gone, you really do not know who the favorite is in the softball tournament. And let's be real, softball, you can get by with a pitch and a half if the brackets fall right for you and you stay in that winner's bracket instead of the elimination bracket, which doesn't tax your pitching. Softball, they can come back every day. Baseball, you got to have 3 in baseball. Speaking of baseball, Jamie, before we'll save the swag for after the interview, but in baseball, NAIA brackets came out today, and there is only one HBCU that has made the NAIA, and it was Talladega. Talladega got the automatic bid from the Gulf Coast, GCAC, last tournament champion that will ever be crowned with the initials GCAC. AC as they rebrand themselves as the HBCU AC. And during the championship game, they put a whooping on Wiley, who wound up having to go to another tournament by a score of 25-2 in the championship game of the GCAC. And believe it or not, Jamie, Talladega did not receive the lowest seed in their pod. In their 5-team pod, they were the number 4 seed. They still got to play the extra game, but at least they get the last at bat. And Talladega will be going to Shreveport, Louisiana, hosted by LSU Shreveport, May 13th through 16th at Pilot Field.
I actually think that's huge, man.
Go ahead.
Because think about that for a second. Like really ponder on that. The fact that in certain leagues we are not relegated to the last position of a tournament, just because we play in an HBCU conference. I love it. It's the quality,
especially a brand new HBCU conference.
Yes, very much so. So yeah, man, I love it. I don't think that's that point is given enough credence. So kudos to Talladega.
Yeah, let me quickly go over that pod. LSU Shreveport is the number 1. Concordia, Nebraska is the number 2. Kansas Wesleyan is the number 3. Dega is the 4, and Blue Mountain Christian out of the Southern States Athletic Conference is the number 5. LSU Shreveport is out of the Red River. Concordia, I do not know what conference they play in, and Kansas Wesleyan play in the KCAC. But yeah, Jamie, you are absolutely correct. The fact that we have an HBCU that is not just the, for lack of a better word, a sacrificial lamb. They are given some bit of a credence. Now, let's be real. That's also great scheduling by coach's name is slipping my head. Dominguez, Coach Dominguez there at Talladega, because that had to come from their non-conference schedule, because outside of Wiley, I believe Wiley may have been the only team within the GCAC that was even mentioned on a possible national level. Every other team in the conference overall was under 500 except for Wiley and Talladega. I hope they didn't break it, man.
You hear it.
Yeah, I heard it. But that was great scheduling there by Coach Dominguez there to go out and in his non-conference get good quality victories against teams that would help them out and move them up in the rankings. Although, let's still be real, Dega doesn't make it without winning the GCAC.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think when it comes to winning your conference, especially impressing those eyes, no, you don't do that without winning your conference. Absolutely.
All right. Now, coming up after the break, Jamie, we're going to talk about an HBCU softball team on the NAIA level who did not win their conference, and for the first time that we could find, an HBCU got an at-large to the NAIA softball tournament. We'll be right back. You guys will see who it is coming up right after this break.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
As technology continues to bring changes to the world of education, it's time we also reimagine teacher professional development. Gone are the days of one-size-fits-all learning that can only be accessed at a specific time and place. The Stride PD Center is an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that allow educators to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. The best professional development plans are those that include a level of flexibility and choice for educators. Whether you're a teacher, school, or district, visit us today to take charge of your learning.
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, yeah, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
We're back here on the lab inside the HBCU Sports Lab. AD Drew, Jamie Walker, and joining us for the interview, Coach Joel Penfield. Coach Joel leading the Steelman Tigers to the NAIA softball tournament. Get to the tournament is special, but especially when you don't win your conference. You don't come in second in the conference tournament. You get an at-large third place in the conference tournament. I believe you guys finished third in the regular season also. Do I have that correct? In the Southern States?
We were actually fifth.
Fifth.
We went in as a fifth seed. Yes, sir.
Went in as a fifth seed in the Southern States Athletic Conference softball tournament. And with a hot tournament, they wound up finishing third. Long Friday night there in let's see, you guys were in Decatur, Alabama.
Yes, sir.
Correct. But let's get to the particulars. This was the first time in program history that Steelman has made it to the NAIA tournament. And I was working with your SID, Chris Megginson there, trying to find if we could figure out, we know it didn't happen when Steelman was at the D2 level, and we were unable to find anything on the D3 level when Steelman made it to the softball tournament. So congratulations on that for making history. Coach, you can put that plaque on your wall. You can die with that plaque because
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, but it is the first time in the current format that an HBCU has received an at-large. We know that Edward Waters, when it was Edward Waters College, made it out of the AII in 17 and 19, but that was with the automatic bid. And Talladega also made it out of the AII in 2018, but that was also with the automatic bid. And no team since Edward Waters in 2019 has made it to the NAIA tournament. So before I go any further into anything else, when I throw that stuff out at you, Coach Penfield, what does that mean to you?
Oh, it's special. You know, we like breaking records and setting history around here. And, you know, I just put it all back on the girls. They're the ones that do the work and everything. And, you know, we just we got a great group of girls around here, and they work hard, and we got good student athletes. I think that's a huge part of our success. So super proud of them. We're looking forward to it. You know, we got a lot going on right now, so we're just getting ready to roll.
All right. And when I was there for the GCAC basketball tournament that was here that you guys facilitated, I met a few of your girls down in the media room down underneath, and great group of girls and everything. They very confident. I'll say that on the air publicly.
Oh yeah, definitely. You got to have that. You got to have that. But yeah, super group, just a super group. You know, they love each other. They play for each other, and I think that's just a huge part of our success.
All right, Jamie, go ahead. You get with your questions.
Absolutely, Coach Penfield. First of all, congratulations. Yeah, tell me about what kind of leadership that you have on your team. Just, you talked about the togetherness and the confidence. Tell me about some of those leaders on the squad.
Oh, you know, we've got several. You know, our team, we're senior loaded. We'll actually graduate 10 on Saturday. So I've had them girls for a couple of years now and everything. And you know, so many of them are leaders, and I don't have to ask them to step up. They're just born leaders. I'll mention a few, but it may take me a minute. But
that's all right. We got as
that's
much
okay.
time
We
as
got
you
time.
need.
we are our player of the year in the conference, Lauren Haskins, just huge leader. She's always. It doesn't matter if you're a freshman, sophomore, whatever. She's just a big time leader. We got Bailey Seals at shortstop. That's been here for 2 or 3 years now, and just another big leader. Madison Boubell that plays third base for us. My catcher, Aniston Jones. My second baseman, Caitlin Madison. Then we keep going. My right fielder, Taylor Rowland. My center fielder, Carolyn Carter. Pitcher, Lexi McCrae. And then another pitcher, Elizabeth Boso. So we, I got another one, another outfielder, Sarah Kate Nichols. Senior loaded, when you got that many and they're all just true leaders, it just makes my job a lot easier.
Now, what kind of challenge does Indiana Southeast kind of present to you? How much do you know about that squad going into this game?
Well, I started studying them a little bit. I hadn't had a whole lot of time, but seems like they got a real good pitcher. I think she's got 233 strikeouts on the year. A couple of their offensive players, DH and everything. Girls got 11 home runs. They don't look like they strike out a whole lot. Looks like they got pretty good defense. Still looking over them, so I don't know a whole lot about them. But it's just like I told my girls today, it doesn't matter who we play. We just got to go out there and do our thing. So, we're looking forward to it. They'll be ready. So, but I will keep studying. You got
Absolutely. And one more follow-up question to that. Just looking over the schedule and just looking over the tournament, tell me what kind of challenge Middle Georgia gave you. Because I'm looking at you played them so close throughout the entire season. I mean, you're talking about one-run ball games. Like, just talk about that squad for a second and just the interaction with both of you all.
Middle Georgia, great team. A lot of them girls have been around for a while too. I think they had 7 or 8 seniors that'll be graduating. Very, very good games. Actually had one of the games was a walk-off in the bottom of the 8th. Let me rephrase myself there. And then the time we beat them, it was a run-one game. Just a good squad. Good hard playing softball. We got I don't like to say this, but we got a little bit of a bad call against them on Saturday and on championship day, but it happens. But yeah, they're a great group. And, we enjoy playing them. It's a little bit of a rival there, but they got a good squad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Coach Penfield.
Thank you.
All right, Coach. Probably the hottest team in the SSAC tournament, the team no one wanted to face. Guys went 4-2 during the tournament. Some of the stats, 42 runs, 6 home runs. That was just on one day, y'all. That was just on one day. So you had a great regular season, had to win a couple of games at the end of the season, those last couple of series, in order to move yourself into a better position. You carried that momentum over into the tournament. Now, Coach, you will have been off for at least 10 days before you start your next competition. How do you keep that momentum and that fire going during this layoff, especially when you're talking about graduations and things of that nature? And now you girls look around, they're the only people who are left on campus probably. So how do you just keep that momentum going with these girls right now?
Yeah, it's tough having the layoff and everything, but we got back after it yesterday pretty good. Had a real good practice today, and we'll go at it again tomorrow. I think my girls, they know what's at stake. They'll be ready. They're pumped. They're still getting over the excitement of getting in on that large bid and everything, but they'll put in the work. We had a real good practice today. It'll probably be a little bit light tomorrow because course, like you said, the graduation coming up on Saturday, and a lot of them were telling me, "Hey, we got to do this tomorrow with graduation."
I gotta go get my hair done.
Yeah, exactly. Had a couple of them had their nails already done today, and I was like, I hope we don't mess them up. But no,
I hope that wasn't a picture.
no, it wasn't. It wasn't. But like I said, we'll have a light practice tomorrow because I know they got a lot going on and everything, and then we'll get to go when we'll travel Sunday morning. I apologize. To Hattiesburg, we'll get a good practice in over there. So we'll be ready, and they'll be focused. We'll get over there and get over the excitement a little bit Sunday and all that stuff. But we'll have a good practice, and we'll be ready to go Monday.
All right. And now, Coach, you had a great career there in the state of Alabama as a high school coach at Bessemer. You coached both volleyball and softball over at Bessemer. I believe you made a state finals in softball as a high school coach, if I've got all that correct. And then you came to Stillman. And let's be real, Coach. It did not start off too good when you got over to Stillman. You had a couple for conference seasons. Never won more than 3 games in conference until last year.
Right.
When you won 15 games, went 15-13 in conference, 36-17 overall. This year, you went 35-13, 15-11 in conference. Started off 19-0 this year. What was it that had led to the big turnaround there between those first 5 years you were there at Stillman versus these 2 years?
Yeah, sure. When I came in, of course, a lot of the girls that were here, they were already here. And we lost a few though that first year I came in, which I came in late in November of 17. And, it was what they say, a building year. Well, they say what they say to every coach, give me 5 years, give me 5 years and let me get my kids in here that I've recruited and let's see what happens. And that's just what happened. It was a big turnaround. My first year here, we had 12, 13 on the roster. And
that's tough.
Yeah, you get a couple of injuries. I think with that first year, we actually ended up with 10 on the roster as injuries. And the same thing the second year, and then started getting some girls that I was recruiting in, and then COVID hits. We're 8-0 when COVID hits and wipes that out right there. So we come back and in the next year after COVID, and it was almost like a starting over again. You know what I mean? It was because a few girls left, their time was up and they just was ready to move on. So did a good job of getting out there and recruiting good kids, good athletes. Been fortunate enough to get a lot of JUCO transfers after they do the 2 years. I put a little plug in for my buddy at Marion Military. I get a lot of girls from him. We've known each other for a long time. And but yeah, we just started getting good kids, built the roster up, started getting 25, 28 on the roster. You're always going to lose a couple here and there, especially over the break, holidays and everything. But kept that roster up, and I think that was a big part of it, just getting the roster and keeping it at around 20 to 25 kids. And, we talk about this all the time, having them kind of numbers. And when you're at practice and you got 2 and 3 people at the same position, you got a little bit of competition going on, instead of just you being at third base, you probably going to be the only third baseman that plays in the games. And that's the way it was the first couple of years. We just didn't have the numbers, and just getting our numbers up and recruiting good kids. And so it worked out for us. The group I have now, most of them returned from last year. That's the big group that'll be graduating, but had them last year, and just a good group, and they get after it. They get after it when they get on the field, and just a joy to coach. Love them all to death.
All right. Hey, Coach, you got a couple of minutes. We need to take a break, but I want you to come back and talk about special event that you got going on there on campus today.
Absolutely.
All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a short break. When we come back, Coach Joel will be back. Jamie Walker, AD Drew. You're watching I almost said the BCSN Sports Wrap, Jamie. You're watching Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We'll be right back at you.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em! It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm. Hello, clean bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him.
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From now
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
We're back here on Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. AD Drew, Jamie Walker, Coach Joe Penfield, our guest lecturer for today. And I've got to take a point of special privilege, everybody. FAMU lost to Jackson State. I guess I should say that the proper way. Jackson State defeated Florida A&M at the SWAC tournament by a score of 5-3. And for all those, this is orange. This is not that red that Jackson State got on. I'm still proud of my Rattlers out there. And just update, if I can get an update from the MEAC tournament. My page clicked off where I had the live stats pulled up. And it's taking a moment. And it is in the MEAC tournament, Coppin State and North Carolina Central are tied 3-3 entering the bottom of the ninth. So a baseball game has broke out in the softball tournament in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. One reason I bring up those Division I scores, Coach, is one thing that I've said to a lot of people is with baseball and softball, it is easier for Division IIs. Well, not for Division IIs. I think it's easier for NAIAs to compete with the NCAA teams because of one thing, and that is the scholarship difference between baseball and softball on the various levels is minimal. Actually, for baseball, there are more scholarships available on the NAIA level than on the NCAA level, and they're very similar on softball. Just kind of talk about the differences between softball at the NAIA level and softball at the Division I and Division II level, because I've seen them at all three levels, and the good teams are good at any level, coaches, from what I've seen with my own naked eyes.
Oh yeah, you know, like I said, every level is very competitive. You know, we don't really look at being NAIA; we just look at being a good softball team. You know, we talked earlier about, you know, I recruit good girls. I recruit smart girls. Honestly, I do. That's one of the first questions I ask these kids. What's your GPA? Because at our level, we have to look at, hey, I can get you some academic scholarship. May not be able to get you as much athletic, but I can get you to academic. All across the board. I know Division II and Division III, they don't get near the scholarships that we can offer and everything. So, it makes it competitive all the way across the board.
Yes, definitely. Now, you guys got a special event going on there in support of your softball team. The powers that be took advantage of your opportunity to make it to the NAIA tournament to do something to try to garner some support for your softball team, Coach. Just kind of talk about what you got going on there, and if anybody in the lab would like to help you guys out, what they need to do to go and contribute to your cause.
Yeah, we are doing it's a phone-a-thon. It's actually going on as I speak. So my girls are in the auditorium over there doing that right now. But it was just another fundraiser that we came up with. Obviously these trips, when you start traveling to these big tournaments and everything, it costs a lot of this. We wanted our girls to have the best experience. And we're pushing to go all the way through. We just don't want to be at this first round and go to the house. We want to move on, win that, and move on to the World Series in Columbus, Georgia. So, we got on the phones and started getting donations and just trying to help out as much as we could. Because like I said, it costs a lot of money to do this. And like I said, we just want the best experience for them. We've got the phone-a-thon going on right now. Which you can call in, and I think they got a few minutes left over there. There's a link that anybody could donate to. And my SID just handed me a piece of paper, and it's in yellow marker. Or
leave it to Chris.
Yeah, Chris. First of all, he said, "Can you read this?" And, no, I can't read that. And no, I don't have my glasses on either, so that don't make it better. But he's got it right here if y'all want to hear.
I'm right here. I'll call it out. All right. The link for the hour-a-thon is buy now, says BUYNOW, buynowcc.net/SCT. So buynowcc.net/SCT, like Stillman College Tiger. So you can give it away, or you can go to stillman.edu/give and designate the gift toward athletics and softball, or also toward track and field, as we also have Chris Johnson going to men's discus to the NAIA championships later this month up in Indiana. So we're raising for both programs.
I don't know if my producer heard that, but if my producer could hear that and put that in the chat for me, I would greatly appreciate it. So I may ask you to repeat that again, Chris, so that our producer can get that and try to put that in the chat. Jamie, you have any follow-ups for Coach?
Yeah, just one last question. And I guess Chris would be a good authority on this as well. Your social media presence has been excellent. Chris, sends out those blurbs all the time. I get them on my email, and the softball team has definitely become a sense of pride when it comes to Stillman. Talk about the school and how they've kind of contribute to your success as well as far as the support.
Yeah, they're behind us. I think winning obviously helps out a lot. We enjoy the publicity, I guess you could say, of having a good program, and that's what we're here for. We just want to. We want to have a good program, and I keep saying it over and over. We want good kids, but they're student athletes. Student comes first, obviously. I tell all my recruits that come in here, you're coming to school to get an education. That's the rest of your life, what you're going to be doing. Softball follows right behind it, but we keep softball pretty close. It's pretty close right there. But, we just want them to get a good education and move on and have good careers and everything, and enjoy softball while you're still doing it.
Good deal. Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it.
All right. Coach, I always like to give you the last word, give our guests the last word. Anything that we did not ask that you want to give out, and after you make your closing statement, you can have Chris read that statement again. I mean, the
Yeah.
website again, the link
Okay.
again.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we just first of all appreciate y'all having me on. I love what I do. I love my girls. And look, like I said earlier, we're not just going to play 2 games next week. We're going for it all. And then we'll be in Columbus, Georgia the following week. And then we'll see what happens after there. But no, I appreciate y'all having me on. Go Tigers. And y'all keep looking for us. Maybe I'll talk to y'all again next week.
Hopefully, we'll be talking to you from the World Series in a couple of weeks, Coach.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
All right, Chris, I need you to step over to the mic one last time. Roy says he is ready to get that link so that we can ask these people to support you while you've got a few moments left in your fundraiser.
All right. Well, yeah. So the link for the Hour-a-thon fundraiser, which is going on right now, the girls have been making phone calls and text messages. That link is buynowcc. So buynowcc.net/SCT. So buynowcc.net/SCT. And the other way, and the primary way really to give throughout the year is stillman.edu/give. And there's a designation drop box. You can select athletics, and then you add to the note whether you're given to softball, track and field, or one of the other programs for athletics. But yeah, buynowcc.net/SCT. You'll see options for softball, track and field, and some other teams there as well. As we mentioned, we're trying to raise money for track and field as well as softball, as Chris Johnson, men's discus, will compete in the NAIA National Championships later this month in Indiana for track and field. So thanks again for all you guys for what y'all done the last few years and for having Coach on. And we'll talk more hopefully this spring.
Hey, Chris, I don't know if you can see the screen, but I want to make sure that link is correct that we have on the screen there.
Yes, both those are correct. Thank you.
All right. Now, lab listeners, we know y'all like to come through for everybody. We like to support our fellow HBCUs. So we're going to ask everybody $5, $10, $2, $1. If everybody gives $1, it can add up real fast. So give as much as you can without hurting yourself. Support the Stillman Tigers as they make this historic run to the NAIA softball tournament. We appreciate you, Chris.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right.
All right, Chris.
Getting that fraternity shout out there, I see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There we go. Hey, I tell you what, Jamie, we're going to take our final break of the day. Then you and I going to come back, and we're going to hit some fungos and get up out of here for the day. You like that, my brother?
Sounds good to me.
All right, you're watching Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. A.D. Drew, Jamie Walker, Chris Begerson, sucking up screen time while he can. We'll be right back, y'all.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em. It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm. Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tamika Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him.
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a law, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Welcome back to Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Jamie Walker, AD Drew, and in the MEAC softball tournament, we are in the middle of the 10th inning now. We are still tied at 3. Jamie, nothing worse than going multiple extra innings in the softball tournament on your second game of the day and what that could do to your pitching.
Man, listen, when you're talking about softball, man, I mean, maybe it's a little bit easier just based on, physiology in certain senses as far as pitching is concerned. But if you're the team with multiple pitchers, you rule for the most part, especially if you have really good pitchers that you can rotate in. But, just based on the underhand toss, man, I mean, it makes it just a little bit easier for, just a couple of people to go within the tournament. But it does strain your pitching staff if you have those types of games.
Yes, it definitely can. It definitely can, man. So, all right, Jamie. So we done waited to the end of the show. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, Jamie.
Oh, boy.
Now, Monday on BCSN Sports Wrap, Brian and I had a discussion. We let our feelings out on this. Yesterday on the ONG Strike Zone, Brian, Kelvin, and Marcus made some additional comments on this. There was a board meeting today. I was kind of half watching it because unfortunately, which I'm kind of upset at the board. How the heck you call an emergency board meeting when your softball team is playing in the SWAC tournament at the same time? So my attention was really divided, and my attention was probably more on the softball than the doggone board meeting. So, but that's a different story. So I do not know what occurred in the board meeting, Jamie, and for all those listening in the lab. So I'll have to go back and replay that, and then I can make any appropriate comments about today's board meeting after I've had a chance to go back and listen to it. But Jamie, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Give me your opinion on the FAMU gift situation.
Man, because this is hard. When I first saw it, it was like, wow, that is an absolute game changer. And was truly happy and still are to a degree, hoping that everything settles in the dust and, everything turns out well. But then once everything started coming out and, stuff just started surfacing as to, the people in the background, the way the transaction was done, things of that nature, it just came into question. I don't like to see any of our HBCUs go through anything where there's even an implication or a thought of any kind of impropriety, non-due diligence, things of that nature. I don't like that being spoken about our institutions. No matter how much we rag on each other, or whatever, and make jokes, you don't like to see that. And anybody that does, shame on you, because ultimately those kinds of things aren't worth us looking bad, because there are people and institutions that want to put a bad name on the 4 letters HBCU. At the same time, we all, I see it. I see it. I looked at some of the board, and I actually caught some of the show. I was taking my daughter, who is a graduating senior, out to an outing last night. I was waiting in the car.
And congratulations on that.
Thank you. But and was listening in on the ONG Strike Zone. Didn't make any comments because I just let them have at it, and there was a lot of different opinions, and a lot of different just stances in general. I respect Brian's stance, Kelvin's stance, and Marcus's stance as well. But when it comes down to the people that were covering this, I understand totally the perspective in which the articles were written. I also understand Brian's stances as far as who do we question, and do we give this same alignment of questioning to everyone that comes in and donates and gives gifts, just because it is for an HBCU. I understand all stances when it comes to this, because when you look at the background and the information that's come out after this, you do have some head scratching types of things, just because it is not normal and has not been the norm. So I understand all of this, but at the bottom line, I don't want to see any of our institutions painted in a bad light. And so what I hope is that is a big misunderstanding. It's just unconventional and everything is good. But on the other end, we'll see what happens. That's kind of where I concluded.
And like I say, there's a lot of, I still have a lot of mixed emotions about it every day. When I wake up and see new information on my phone or in my email or wherever, it's like I say, it's mind-boggling that we are even in this situation. It's just mind-boggling that we are in this situation. You saw where reportedly that the donation is now divided up over 10 years.
Yep.
So, I mean, on average, that's what, 27.3 or 23.7, whatever it is per year. That's just an average. Then there was some information on where the money is supposed to be allocated that came out in the article. X amount goes to athletics, X amount goes to the business school, X amount goes to pharmacy, agriculture, president's discretionary fund, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we've seen more things like that come out. And it's kind of interesting for somebody who made FAMU sign an NDA. Now he's the one leaking all this information, apparently, according to the article. So, like I say, there are a lot of questions that are out there. And Jamie, let's just say this whole thing belly flops and goes up in the air. Outside of the PR hit, we in the same situation that we was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think I heard one of your alums kind of state this eloquently. Stephen Campbell basically say, other than a few jokes and maybe some situational changes, FAMU doesn't lose anything that we know of. So at the end of the day, it could happen to any institution. Although I will say the due diligence taking place that may need to be looked at, and I think the powers that be will look at certain things, because that might be the only head scratching thing that I do have based on what you can just generally Google or research yourself. How does that draw the conclusion that you should carry on and go forward? But at the same time, that's not my decision. I'm not part of that brain trust. So again, I'm hopeful, but I'm cautiously hopeful.
Yeah. Just off the subject for a moment. Coppin State defeated Central 4-3 in the 10th inning. And let's see, looks like there was runners on second and third. Single to center field was the scoring play. We'll dive into that a little bit later, but Coppin State advances. And is Central done? I'm looking back at it. No, first loss for Central. So Central will still have Central now moves to the elimination bracket.
So the fighting Joshua Simses continue.
Coppin State 3-0, number 3 seed, 3-0 in the tournament. South Carolina State is 1-1. Morgan State is 1-1. Coppin State looks like they are the only undefeated team in the tournament as of right now after day 2. From everything that I've seen, looks like everybody else is in the elimination bracket. So we'll just take that for what it is. But one thing that kind of irks me, especially when you talk about in the state of Florida, in the don't say woke state, in the book ban state, in the let's not mess with Mickey Mouse state, do everything to slow down Mickey Mouse, which I think is the most stupidest thing you could do when that's your number one private business in the state, that the governor has now appointed a special controller for FAMU to dive deeper into this situation. That irks the heck out of me when it comes to it. Out of everything else, now you brought the government deeper into it. Already a state institution, so they already have certain controls over what happens at FAMU, just like in North Carolina legislature has control over things that happen at A&T and in every other state, Alabama A&M, Alabama State, et cetera, et cetera. But when they come in under these type of situations, they're going to come in and start auditing every single pen and paper clip that you have on that campus, and be able, where did the funds come from for that, or why are you spending that money on that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So a whole nother can of worms opened up where maybe a lot of this stuff is innocent and could have been avoided. If this stuff has been, and I'm with Kelvin on this stuff was vetted for 7 months or 8 months. Somebody with all those initials behind their name should have said, bro, I need you to clean up the website before we make this announcement. I need you to, straighten up this, straighten up that, all that stuff that people are going to Google and everything. Bro, that's just like, Jamie, that's just like going to somebody's wedding and you just can't walk in, bro, you need to go get a haircut and a shave before you come to the wedding and put on that tuxedo. Same thing. That's what should have been done. You the same person, but I need you to be presented a little bit better for this special occasion. That's the one thing that Kelvin said last night that I 1,000% agree with. Somebody should have had the foresight to say, clean up A, B, and C before we go public with this stuff.
Hey man, I have no arguments with that. I know we pinched, but it's just not its finest hour right now. But again, hopefully it works out. Because this looks like it's the long game instead of it being all in one gift. We'll see what happens. That's still all I can really say.
And as the whispers say, and the beat goes on, but this podcast will not. Thank you for listening to Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure to share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. This is AD Drew and Jamie Walker sitting in the lab, special shout out to Dr. Cavil. Thank you, Dr. Cavil, for letting me host this once again. Shout out to regular co-host Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Charles Bishop is in Montgomery covering baseball right now, doing play-by-play. Again, we'd like to thank you for listening to Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab every Tuesday and Thursday right here on the Black College Sports Network. We look forward to next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow Dr. Kenyatta Cavil on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Jamie.
Of course.
Roy.
Lecture.
Dismiss. Drop a like, everybody.